So if we're describing wireless principles, we need to stop and take a look at what it is.
CCNA Networking Fundamentals course, brought to you in part by Blackburn and Tech.
Everybody's familiar with wireless. So we have two different sections, the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz band. These are the most common ones. 2.4 is normally a little busier and crowded. It has channels within inside of it, just as the other one does. And the channels get overlapped. There's a lot of crosstalk, so there's a lot of background noise that goes on. And everything uses 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, such as this wireless microphone that I'm using, but so could your baby monitor or even your wireless. That is what the 2.4 channels are, the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz channels are. When you hear the term SSID, it stands for the network name. So if you have My Network is your wireless name, or you might see Linksys or whoever your internet provider is, or you might even see Coffee Shop or Starbucks Wi-Fi or whatever. That is the SSID. That is what is being broadcasted out and your computer can see it. This is what you click on to connect to. Essentially what it does is when you click on it and connect to it, that says that you send a message out to that access point and it allows you to start the authentication process with it. Talk about encryption. There's multiple types of encryption that our wireless solutions use. Everything from open, where you have no wireless. Then you have the big area you'll see is WPA2 and WPA3 is the newest standard. Now you have WPA2 personal and enterprise. So if you look at a router, you'll see where it says personal and enterprise. Personal is just no more than a pre-shared key that you give out to your friends, your family. If it's a guest network, you probably have a pre-shared key. Now, if you have enterprise set up, it uses your radius server for authentication. So the wireless network isn't doing your authentication. It's sending it probably to your LDAP server, your Active Directory, or you could even have a radius server doing it. So what this does is it sends the request and it just waits for your authentication server to say, yes, it's allowed, that user is allowed, or no, that user is not allowed. You'll typically see this in larger environments because of the infrastructure that's required to set it up. But what it does is it uses the same credentials you use to log on to anything else in your enterprise, and you can get on the wireless. When you're looking at the settings, you'll also see where it's talking about, maybe it says TKIP or AES encryption. You always want to go for the best that your devices can support. With today's standards, you're typically looking at AES, which is AES 256 is the most common that's deployed in most environments. This is fairly secure. It's very hard to crack depending on your password length. So that's why we always tell you to make sure you set a good secure password, because the shorter and simpler it is, it's easier to crack. The CCNA course doesn't really cover in detail on the wireless side of it. They do have dedicated courses for wireless, but this is a good rule of thumb and a good starting point for you. This completes this objective for the CCNA Fundamentals course. Go ahead and click on the next video to continue your journey. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe if you like this content.